Well, the IEB's matric class of 2022 has recorded a record 98.42% pass rate. It is a slight increase from 2021. Let me remind you of what those stellar results were. In 2021, it was 98.39%. More than 13,000 pupils writing matric exams last year. And that's only half the story, of course. There's always the talk of how many of those get entry into bachelor's programs and further education. And let's get the details from the IEB CEO Ann Oberholzer, who's once again smiling a year later. I feel like it was this time last year, and we were just about jumping up and down. And I asked the question to you a year ago, do you think you could do better? And the answer is a staggering yes. Congratulations. How are you feeling?
Gareth, we really are so pleased that the class of 2022 has done so well. I must be honest, I stayed up all night studying every night to get these stellar results, and I wish I could claim them for myself. But they belong to the learners who have pulled it out of the bag, and quite honestly, the teaching community that have supported them through this. It's been a very difficult time the last 3 years, and they've had to work hard. They've had to catch up grade 10 and grade 11, where they missed enormous amounts of time. But they've done it, and I take my hats off to them.
And so do I. And we're actually going to be talking to two pupils from Dainfern College at 7:30. So, Anne, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to join us, but everyone with us this morning, it's astonishing when you look at the number of subjects that these pupils are taking. But it's not just the academic side, it's the sporting side. It seems to be the whole IEB program which is working. But now we have to kick the tin down the road, and we talk about, bachelor passes and future academic studies as well. And I'm not sure if you've got the numbers with you. I'm sure you do. But I think it's close to 90% or thereabouts getting into bachelors if they wanted to.
It's an 89.32% bachelor pass. We must remember that qualifying for entry to degree studies does not mean that the universities have enough places to accommodate everyone. There's a limited number of spaces, but these learners have done so well. They would do well even if they can't get into the university of their choice to look at some of the online universities and stretch their options to make sure that they can carry on studying, because clearly they've got the ability.
Was it just my imagination, Anne, or did we start seeing more schools either opening or changing to IEB because of COVID-19 and the pandemic? The online learning became very much the go-to place. And traditionally, online learning in private schools were always IEB. So have we seen more pupils coming through the IEB program?
Well, right up until the pandemic started, online schools were few and far between. The IEB did have a couple of them writing with us. But once the pandemic broke and people realized that the only way they're going to carry on learning is through the online space and the use of technology, we did see a lot more opening. Some of these bodies have been with Sakai, but certainly once the permission was given for the IEB to open up its space to online schools, we have had a number of applications that have joined us.
Let's take a moment, not just reflect on the pupils who've done exceptionally well and their CEO who seems to have managed the whole process through COVID-19, but it's the teachers as well. Because when we talk about these matric results from about a month or two ago, or the matric exams, that was end of 2022. The problem for matriculants starts in grade 10, doesn't it? That isn't just 1 year of hard work for teachers. That was mid-COVID-19 when all of these kids were in grade 10. That's where the hard work started, wasn't it?
Well, the hard work for the NSC probably starts in grade 10, but quite honestly, even, if you're going to achieve well in grade 12, that starts virtually the day you're born. And what kind of stimulation you get at home, whether you are reading from an early age, whether you are being challenged and stimulated. I always look at people with babies that play with them with mobiles and ask them, what is this? Is this a kitty? Is this a doggy? Or what is that? You're stimulating the brain of the child. And these high achievers don't even just achieve because they work at school. They achieve because they are stimulated right the way through. But the point you make about the results for the NSC, they certainly, the curriculum for the NSC starts in grade 10. And so the loss of virtually the whole of grade 10 and quite a substantial proportion from grade 11 really put the pressure on these learners and their teachers, because you must remember that teachers have got to try and motivate learners. And if learners are nervous, if they're scared, if they don't know and they're not catching up quickly enough, the teacher's there to catch them and to encourage them and to motivate them and keep them on track without allowing them to get so afraid that they just throw their hands up and say, I can't do this. Yeah.
Talking about throwing up your hands and saying you can't do this, obviously it's an astonishing figure, and 98.4%, but sadly it does mean, and it's not nitpicking, but it's a reality, that means there's about 1.6% who sadly didn't make it through, even though it is IEB. In a program like IEB, what's the plan there for that 1.6% who didn't get what they were aiming to do?
Well, it's the IEB is an assessment body, so we simply set the bar. The schools have to prepare those learners to cross the bar, and so you will find that the majority of schools have a way of dealing with this. I think the important thing for children to realize is that this set of exams is not the only set of exams that they're ever going to have access to. There is always a second chance. There is always a third chance. And schools will be able to advise those learners best as to what is available to them through that school. But then you also have places like Master Maths who specialize in the teaching of mathematics and science. And a child who those are the two subjects that people battle with. A specialist organization like that can assist those learners, and they can redo those exams and they can carry on with their lives. The important point is for both the schools and the parents to support those children and say it's not the end. Life goes on, and we will make sure that your life goes on okay. And that's really, for me, the most important part. We've got to keep children hopeful about the future. They cannot see this as the end.
It certainly isn't. Speaking of the end, as I say goodbye to you, though, you knew I was going to ask you to give me a prediction number for next year. You knew it was coming. Last year you said there'd be an improvement. We're getting close to 100%, so 98.4 now. In a year's time, you and I know we're going to be talking again. What is the prediction? What's the aim from 98.4?
Gareth, that's always a very difficult question. I mean, if everybody passed, then one would be saying they're writing the exam too late. They should have been writing slightly earlier in their school career. There's always somebody that has a problem. There's always something that's going to happen. The strength that sits within the independent school sector that write the IEB exams is that the teachers more or less know when children are ready to write. There's some children that they'll say, look, give it a bash and see how you go, because you're just on the borderline. If I've got to give a prediction, 98.5, how does that sound?
It sounds fine. I'll see how it looks in a year's time when I get you back on again, and we'll see if it's gone up. You've been accurate every time I've asked you that question, every single year. And congratulations to you and the IEB, but of course, congratulations to all the schools, the teachers, and I suppose most importantly as well, the pupils. Independent Examination Board CEO Anne Oberholzer joining us here on the show. Congratulations to all the IEB matrics. Of course, it's just the beginning of the adventure. The real fun, the real life starts after school. A reminder